Okay, this is that time of the year when Kunal and I usually get into an argument on what is the right pronunciation of the track. I've always stuck with Eret. He's always said Jerez or Erez
Hey,
or
I've
whatever.
always said Erez.
No, I've always stuck with Eret, and most of the BBC guys are saying Eret, so I'm going to stick with them.
Actually, there are two pronunciations to the Spanish word, is what I have been told
Yes,
through my research.
yes.
And like always, both of us are right.
All right. I don't know if either of us is right or wrong, but a few teams are getting it right. A few teams are not getting there at all, and a few teams don't turn up when it's for the Eret test in Spain. The first test is over. As I speak, I see registered timings of Ferrari being the quickest. Kimi Raikkonen, take a bow, but don't take the timing too seriously because even last year Kimi was the fastest guy in testing. But well, you know what 2014 was.
Absolutely. I am very keen to share our views from testing with our listeners. Let's get it on.
Okay, first things first. Last year, teams were really struggling to do double-digit laps this time of the year, and this year they're doing like 3 race simulations in a day.
Yes, just shows that the sport has come a long way. The teams have come a longer way, if I may say so. And they've understood their technology really well. I mean, Mercedes has been clocking laps, mammoth number of laps, and so have been Ferrari as well.
Yes, and the fastest time from last year to this year has changed by into a range of 2 to 3 seconds faster. Actually, so that's a lot of aerodynamic gain considering the power remains the
Yeah,
same.
and the engine unfreeze in its own way will probably help add more power as well. So Pirelli was right. We reported this a couple of podcasts back that cars will be up to 3 to 4 seconds quicker, and quicker cars and quicker laps means more fun for all of us.
Yes, more fun for all of us. A lot of fun between Lewis Hamilton, Rosberg expected. They look strong. A lot of fun from Ferrari expected because they've looked stronger than last year. But Kunal, I'm going to start with the most basic thing this year. Which is the prettiest looking car for you?
The prettiest looking car for me would be the Red Bull racing car. I love the Camo Bull.
Yes, the irony is when Daniel Kvyat went and chipped his wing, they did not have another wing to give him because front wings take about 1,000 man hours to make. But the irony of the whole situation and the tagline is Red Bull doesn't give you wings, Red Bull gives you a wing. And they ran without a front wing. I do not understand. I cannot fathom the fact that they ran without a front wing. Kindly explain because I laughed it off.
I have no idea. I mean, the front wing is such an important component, and it's good in a way. Kvyat has made his nervous rookie error on the first day of the first test itself. I can tell you, he will shine later on in the season.
Ah, big words from the big man.
But before I move on, what's your favorite livery?
McLaren could have been my favorite livery if they had gone the traditional way.
Yes.
The reddish pink and the white that the McLaren Honda always carried. I was really looking forward for that.
So was I. I mean, we reported this again in our previous podcast.
Yes.
The traditional, iconic McLaren Honda livery.
But the big man, Ron Dennis has said, wait on, we could have a change. And that only happens if we have another sponsor. So you get the checkbook and you get the colors.
Yes, and I can tell you, Rishi, through my inside sources in the paddock, which I always boast of, they are still awaiting board approval for livery.
He's lying, he just knows a few insects over there. Okay, Ferrari looking really strong. Mercedes saying, this is a surprise. We never expected them to be good. Sebastian and Kimi very quick and very closely matched. They need very similar cars, is what the mechanics keep saying. So, Sebastian Vettel getting a big round of applause from the Ferrari garage. And so, how is this year looking and panning out to be? Because yes, Mercedes is looking right up there in terms of reliability and pace, but Ferrari is also looking good.
Yeah, they're looking damn good, especially in the long runs. That's what has been widely reported. And that's what a lot of team members and fans would take heart in. But what confuses me is another report that we read, which is a former Ferrari engineer or a Ferrari engineer, I don't know his current status with the team, has accused Alonso of not being able to develop the car and guide Ferrari out of their woes. Okay. But now the question that I have, and I hope you have an answer, like you always do, is if Ferrari's 2015 S.p.A. whatever car is good, okay.
S.p.A. mobile number.
has developed this car? I mean, would Alonso fans come out and say, hey, you know what, he actually helped develop the car and then moved on and now it's turned out to be a quick car? I mean, all PR statements all over.
Yes, the exact statement was every year Alonso says, okay, my team has made a good car, and midway through the season when he doesn't win, he starts blaming and bad mouthing it, etc., etc. Yes, Vettel is supposed to be better at developing the car and the team around him, etc., etc. But only time will tell, because hey, even Sauber was looking like quick and they had fast laps, and both Kunal and I agree that it looks like a very poorly painted Mitsubishi or an IKEA.
But you know what? In Sauber's case, I can tell you what they're going to be doing tomorrow morning, the day after the first test ends.
That is?
They will take the timings, they will go to prospective sponsors, and they will go and say, hey, guess what? We've been running top 3 times on all 4 days. We are expected to have a brilliant season this year. Why don't you loosen your purse strings and give us some money?
Ah, nicely done.
And in my view, hence, Sauber possibly had PR laps, unless I am absolutely proven wrong.
Okay, where I'm coming from is Red Bull also has sponsors, and the sponsors' names are hardly red, and as in you can't read between the lines and all whatever zebra crossings that you call them, because it's painted so vivid, hurts the eye, but it serves the purpose. You know, the camouflage livery could be the future in every test by every team now.
Yes, I am declaring an award for the 2016 Inside Line F1 Podcast Awards without asking you, without checking with our jury back home. The smartest team on the grid has to be Red Bull Racing.
And Kunal is going to explain why.
Yes, so the camouflage livery works really well because this is the time of the year when, teams will employ photographers to take high-def images of the rivals' cars to understand their aero structure and wing designs, etc., which gains prominence even more this year because the engine regulations are pretty much frozen. So the gains on the power plant front are limited. But when it comes to gaining on the aero front, the best car to copy would be an Adrian Newey car. So that's what Red Bull wants to make sure doesn't happen.
Okay, I'm going to now again trim my question and come back to you. Kunal, tell me, which is your favorite nose this year?
My favorite nose? I guess the Ferrari nose. It looks like nice and long and, it looks like a nosy poker or something that they've added to their car.
That's what she said. Okay, the Ferrari nose is very similar to the Toro Rosso nose, is slightly similar to the McLaren nose. The Mercedes nose is slightly more tapering, slightly, more slender. Looks like Angelina Jolie's leg, actually. I'm going to describe the Red Bull nose as, well, nobody knows. and the Force India nose as, well, somebody knows. And just like you gave an award without asking me, I'm giving an award without asking you for the 2016.
Damn it, tit for tat.
The ugliest nose on a Formula 1 car this year is the Williams nose. I mean, it's a little better than last year, but it's still ugly.
I know you and I want really sexy looking Formula 1 cars.
But that thing dangling in front last year was like really, really horrendous. So they were less looking sexy, more like sex toys. And well, Williams is a little smaller this year, but it still exists. So I'm just going to turn around and say hello.
But you know what? On the contrast, those long noses would mean that the drivers will need to brake at least 3 meters before. While they enter the first corner or the first lap in Melbourne. They'll have to get used to that additional braking space that they will need.
I got a message from Pastor Maldonado that says, I'm learning. Okay, see, I don't know if Mercedes is sandbagging or not, but I definitely know that Honda is struggling for reliability. It's a very typically teething problem, but this was happening to teams last year. What I want to know from you is, if Honda had that additional 1 year, what did they do?
See, the additional 1 year, of course, they would have taken in developing their engines. But there's no compensation for track time in Formula 1 or for that matter in motorsport. And what they've faced in Jerez is actually what possibly every power plant manufacturer faced last year. In fact, they've been in a better position, if I understand that right. And I can probably guarantee, not that my money is riding on McLaren, but I can guarantee that by the time they reach Melbourne, they will be in a far better place than they possibly looked in these 4 days.
So you're saying that they might be the new Renault, but a slightly better one?
Possibly.
Okay.
I mean, if you remember, Red Bull barely did 100 laps in all of last year's testing, and suddenly they were on the pace, or rather off the pace, only from Mercedes in Melbourne last year. So
And they
I'm
made
very
it to the
hopeful.
podium at Melbourne last year.
You'll remember these things, not me.
Okay, so this is the bottom line. Mercedes will never ever admit that they're sandbagging. Oh, they're going to be so modest about it. And Ferrari's made an improvement, which we'll clearly see. There are some teams expected to make an improvement, and hopefully, Sahara Force India F1 will sort out their stuff and they have a good car waiting for us to see on tracks. So, fingers crossed for that. But I'm going to take the question now to Grand Prix. So Kunal gave me a great explanation on if there's a Rosberg who's going to be fighting for a title, if there's going to be a Vettel who's a 4-time quadruple champion, if there's a Mercedes.
And could be fighting for this year's title. I mean, if you see what Ferrari have done,
Correct.
I'm reacting only to first test timings. He could well be fighting for a title as well.
Yes, and if there's a Mercedes that is favorite to win the title this year, why can there not be a German GP with so many German connections?
I don't know. I really have no idea who's running the sport there. I mean, yes, you and I do know. But I feel Indians should run the business of Formula One because clearly Germany, Italy, UK, even Spain are very traditional and established Formula One markets.
Yes.
Okay. We've seen Formula One fail in India and Korea and China and everywhere else. They've tried to race. Bahrain as well. All of 12 people saw the race last year.
Yes.
And you and I could have been 14th.
Provided somebody sponsored the tickets.
Yeah. So, given that the established markets are pretty much the strongest holds, I don't understand why he wouldn't want to go there. I mean, let's just find a way to ensure that Formula One races in Germany.
Yes, a little tip for Bernie Eccleston: get the old Nürburgring and the old Hockenheim back, and you might just see a little difference. Little tiny.
In the TV numbers.
At least.
In the spectators. But you know what, Rishi? He should give the sport to Indians to run.
Especially you.
Yeah, because I'm a good Jew. I can do better business than most Indians. But you know, I had a very interesting chat with somebody today. A big Formula One fan.
Okay.
And this is for Indian listeners, people who understand cricket, etc. Apologies to all the listeners in USA and
Japan.
non-cricketing markets.
Yes.
Okay. Bernie Ecclestone is to Formula One what N. Srinivasan is to BCCI.
Yes, and I would add N. Srinivasan and another name called Lalit Modi. Okay, if these guys were writing contracts, they would make really hefty zeros, numbers, and millions in contracts of Raikkonen and Hamilton, both running out of a contract at the end of this year, both in a position to bargain with their teams, and both pretty cool about it.
Yeah, no, okay. I can tell you only Kimi Raikkonen is cool about it.
Well,
He's left Formula One and come back and etc. He's the Iceman who also has an ice baby now. Okay.
Yes, the name is Robin Raikkonen, and his girlfriend has a very nice figure, but a very complicated mint kind of name.
Mintu, I think.
Mintu, yeah.
Like a Punjabi da name.
Hey! So, what I'm trying to say is, what is Raikkonen going to do? If he doesn't have a contract for next year, he gives a damn, he goes, plays with his baby, eats an ice cream, hey, he's happy.
And he'll sell ice cream somewhere.
But Hamilton what does he do? He doesn't have a son, so he plays with his dog.
Yes.
And,
2 dogs.
And he's broken up with his girlfriend, by the way.
That's what they claim. But you know what? If he doesn't have a contract, I don't know where he's going to go. Red Bull clearly has made all signs that they will only sign people from the driver program. So Red Bull is out.
Okay.
McLaren doesn't seem like he's going to go back because they have Magnussen in the wings, they have Button, they have Alonso. I don't know what will they do with the Hamilton coming back.
Yes.
Ferrari, again, it seems like a very odd pair.
Yeah, they already have a Sebastian and he's good enough to develop a car. Why do they need two Sebastians?
So I don't know. And Williams is too small either way in terms of team and the other size we spoke of.
So I don't know where Hamilton is going. He's not going anywhere except the Mercedes restaurant or the parking truck. Wherever he's going to win a few races. Whatever happens in the next few tests with the cars, outside the cars, in the gossip, in the news, it's going to be up on the Inside Line F1 podcast. Kunal Shah and Rishi Kapoor get together to get this for you, and we are really, really excited because Formula One is now a month and a half away.
You do the math.
I always do, don't I? Gujarati.